here. O's.
Joining us now is an attorney who says that gay couples and parents who are not allowed to get married suffer unfair legal complications in their lives. Welcome, Gloria Allred.
Generally, no gay couple can have a legal marriage in the United States today.
My law firm and I have been litigating cases involving discrimination against individuals who are lesbian, gay, transgender, bisexual for almost 40 years. In the beginning, I was doing women's rights cases, and I didn't know of anyone else who was doing those women's rights cases, but we were doing them with strong advocacy in the 70s. And then Morris Kite, who was one of the great leaders in the civil rights for the lesbian and gay community, he said to me, "Gloria, we need you to do the civil cases involving discrimination against our community." He said, "We have a number of lawyers who have been doing the criminal defense where members of our community have been arrested and charged with various criminal acts. We need someone to get involved in the civil area, employment, sometimes family law, businesses which are discriminating against members of our community. And we think you're the person to do that." So, of course, I said I would be happy to consider them, Morris. Anyone who knew Morris knew that you should say yes to Morris. You shouldn't say no. That would not be a good thing, because he was a terrific leader and he felt very strongly about the persecution of his community, and I felt very strongly about it as well. It was clear that rights were being violated, and individuals began to come to me and we began to take their cases. There were so many of them. One of the early ones was in 1983, Rowland versus Kowalski. We represented two businesswomen who were life partners, and they had gone to a restaurant, Papa Shoe Restaurant, which was a fine dining restaurant in Los Angeles, and they went there to celebrate Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. One of the women was African American, and the other, her life partner, was Latina. And in the Papa Shoe Restaurant, they had a special area. You would walk up a few steps. You would suddenly be seeing about 6 curtained booths with sheer curtains. And violinists would come up those steps and they would play for the individuals in the booth, and had gone there and were seated in the booths. Someone came over, the maitre d', and they said they couldn't sit there. They could sit anywhere else in the restaurant, but not in those romantic booths, because those were for opposite sex couples only. The owner of the restaurant then came to the booth and said, "Look, you have to move because there's a city ordinance that says the two people of the same sex cannot sit in these booths for romantic dining." And they indicated, "We're not lawyers, we're just businesswomen, but we can't believe there would be such a city law." And this went back and forth, and finally they thought about, what should we do? Should we sit in the main section of the restaurant, which for them felt like the back of the bus? Or, and they said this publicly, should they call Gloria Allred? And they decided that Martin Luther King Jr. would want them to call me. Our firm had to decide, is this an important case or is this a ridiculous case? But if you thought that Rosa Parks was being denied respect and dignity because she had to sit in the back of the bus, well then this mattered as well. So we filed the lawsuit, and it became a very big story in Los Angeles. My client spoke. "We are lesbian. We love each other. We care for each other." And they talked about what this case meant to them. And in fact, a lawyer said to me, "Gloria, we didn't know they were lesbians. They were dressed so nicely." In any event, we lost at the lower court level, but we went up to the Court of Appeals. And the Court of Appeals unanimously reversed that lower court decision. We won the case. It became a precedent, a legal precedent, that we were able to cite ourselves in other cases of discrimination that we brought. And we are so proud of our clients and how brave they were at the time. There had been a report that at one point there had been monkeys in the restaurant fornicating. Nobody seemed to care about that. But the idea that two women who loved each other might sit in a romantic section of the restaurant and just might kiss, that was enough to say they shouldn't be able to sit there. In the 80s, there was a great deal of discussion about AIDS and many unjustified fears about transmission of AIDS or the virus that caused someone to be HIV positive. Our client was Paul Jasperson. Paul Jasperson was a hairstylist, and he made an appointment to have a pedicure at Jessica's Nail Salon in West Hollywood. When he was in the salon, he had gone, I believe, to make the appointment in person. As he was leaving, he happened to see one of his clients there. And they were talking, and she had mentioned something about she hadn't seen him lately. He mentioned he had been in the hospital, but he was out now, and he was HIV positive. After that, the salon contacted Paul and canceled his appointment. He came to me. That was clearly an important case. Again, this wasn't just about a pedicure. And so we filed the lawsuit. We litigated that lawsuit. At the lower court, we did not prevail. We went up to the Court of Appeals again in California. And we set 2 legal precedents at the Court of Appeals. By the time we got to the Court of Appeals, Paul Jasperson became deceased. And may Paul rest in peace. But we knew that Paul, because it had indicated this to us early on, that even if he passed away, he wanted us to continue his case. And I was committed to Paul that I would do that. And in those days, by the way, the lifespan of someone who was HIV positive or had AIDS was much shorter than it is now. We said an exception needs to be made here for individuals who are HIV positive or have AIDS because they won't generally live long enough, at least at that time. And I'm happy to say the court agreed with us, and we won that exception. So we won the injunction against the business. And that was extremely important because our argument was if you don't grant that court order preventing this discrimination, then no lawyer is going to take the case in the first place of discrimination because the clients won't be alive by the time it gets to the Court of Appeals. And the discriminator, the business that discriminates, will be able to continue to discriminate. These 2 young men came to me. They had gone to their high school reunion in Orange County, and there was a photographer there taking photos of everyone who had been a graduate of that class with their significant other to be published in the high school reunion book. So these 2 young men went to have their photos taken, and they apparently were told, well, we can take your photo, but we're not going to publish it, along with the other photos in the high school reunion book because they don't publish same-sex couples. Well, of course, they couldn't get married, and they thought that was absolutely wrong, so we filed the case. I think we litigated that case for 16 years until we won legal precedence in that case, all the way up and down to Court of Appeals, because the business's argument, the publisher's argument, and they took out advertisements, by the way, in the newspaper. They were saying, well, we have the right, First Amendment right, to publish or not publish whatever we want to publish, and we don't want to publish that. Apparently that violated their religious beliefs to publish a photograph of a same-sex couple. Our argument was, you are a business. You are not permitted to discriminate under the Unruh Civil Rights Act in California. You are discriminating by not publishing their photo. And we should prevail. Well, I'm very happy to say, at many points, all of the significant points in that 16-year legal battle that we waged, we won. These rights, these basic fundamental rights, are being denied to members of our community. It's not just your community, lesbian and gay. It's our community, all of us. I've been practicing 41 years with no breaks in between. This is what I love. I love helping people to be able to enjoy their rights. We are going to have to continue to fight the good fight because there's still discrimination that is pervasive, that is severe, that is so damaging to the individuals. It cannot be tolerated.